42 AD, 3936 AM. The Mauritanians rebuild the mausoleum of King Juba II in southern Illinois, North America, and bury the treasures and artifacts in subterranean vaults. The amassed relics depicting Phoenicians, Hebrews, Romans, Mauritanians, Jews, Christians, and even black Africans would be discovered entirely by accident by Russell Burroughs in 1982 AD. The Christian scholar Jerome wrote, quote, Peter, the prince of the apostles, after his episcopate in the church of Antioch, went to Rome in the second year of Claudius, and continued there for 25 years up to the end of his life in the 14th year of Nero. Unquote. 1. The lost treasure of King Juba. 2. Four witnesses. 43 AD, 3937 AM. Emperor Claudius of Rome invades Britain, this being 96 years after Julius Caesar's last attempt in 54 BC. 96 years is 1152 months, or 144 times 8. 47 AD, 3941 AM. Traditional date for when the Christian convert Paul, formerly named Saul of Tarsus, went to Cyprus. He visits Anatolia, Asia Minor, and returns to Antioch with Barnabas in 48 AD. Paul will be fully detailed in this chronology. 48 AD, 3942 AM. The census of Claudius Caesar showed a citizen body of 5,984,072 Roman citizens. This citizenship was highly prized, for it guaranteed against becoming a slave. This was the 800th year of Rome and 792 years after the 10 tribes of Israel were deported into Assyria in 745 BC. Many descendants of those same Israelites now citizens of Rome in Gaul. 1. Tacitus, Annals XI. 51 AD, 3945 AM. After 136 years orbiting the Sun, the Romanid Apocalypse Comet Group enters the inner solar system in a 20-year-long detritus train that begins passing over the ecliptic. At this time during Claudius' consulship with Cornelius Orfitus, according to Pliny, a strange sun appeared in the sky in addition to our own, probably a disintegrating comet brightly reflecting the sun's light. Repeated earthquakes also afflicted Rome, destroying houses and property outside the city. In the war in Britain, the Romans defeated King Caractacus, bringing the British king and his family to Rome. The Celtic king gave a stirring speech to the Romans, and admiring his bravery and truthfulness in his speech, the Romans pardoned him, freeing him and his family to live in a palace in Rome. It is believed that in this year the Apostle Paul witnessed to the Ephesians, this being 601 years after the completion of their famous temple to Diana. The fervour of the Ephesians for their goddess almost resulted in Paul's untimely death. 1. Pliny, Natural History, Universe and the World. 2. Tacitus, Annals XII. 52 AD, 3946 AM. In the Roman war in Britain, the Welsh clan called the Silures defeated the Roman 20th Legion. Paul preached at some time during the rule of the proconsul of Archaix, named Gallio, staying for a year and a half. Gallio's writings have survived, but he does not mention Paul, though Paul's writings claim that he obtained audience with him. This denotes that either Paul was not popular or noteworthy enough to mention at this time, or that Paul was not known by Paul at this time. Possibly this could also mean that Paul is a fiction later created by the Church to put a personality to the many early Christian epistles. 1. Saxons, Vikings and Celts. 2. The Gospel Truth. 53 AD, 3947 AM. Earthquakes afflicted Phrygia in Asia Minor. This was a thoroughly Greek region, and this was the year 828 of the Olympiad calendar. This is the third year of the passing of the Romanid Apocalypse Comet Group. In this year the people of Ilium petitioned Nero to exempt them from the public burden solely on the fact that Rome was descended from Troy. This is the accepted approximate date for the death of Simon Magus, whom the Church Fathers wrote that, like Irenaeus, he was the father of all heretics. Simon Magus studied the Greek philosophers intensely, and his great heresy was his attempt at trying to bridge philosophy with Christianity. Simon was from Samaria, Lower Syria, and his followers at this date contended with early Christianity. Simon taught in allegory and took everywhere with him a former prostitute from Tyre, a Phoenician woman named Helen. In his teaching she stood with him and symbolized, quote, the lost sheep, unquote. The Samaritans were proud of their ancient Israelite pedigree. They were not Judeans and did not claim to be, and they were aware that through Phoenicia the ancient Israelites sailed to the Aegean world as the Ionians and Danaan, later known as the Hellenes. In the Trojan War, the Israelite Danaan of Dan even fought to get back Helen of Sparta. Simon Magus had a greater grasp on history than did his Christian enemies, for he knew that the ancient Hellenes, the Greeks descended from the lost sheep, were descendants of Israelites. Many of Simon's beliefs were Gnostic. He believed that the angels were the creators of the world, and that the angels were mismanaging their creations. The angels designed the world and laid out precepts for men to follow, deceiving them. Clement of Alexandria, referring to the beliefs of Simon Magus, wrote, quote, for righteous actions are not according to nature, but from accident, in the manner that the angels who made the world have laid it down, by such precepts enslaving men, unquote. This is amazingly in accordance with the archaic Sumerian and Babylonian texts that read that the Anunnaki, the seven kings, created the world. Simon believed that there was a most high God that was more powerful than the angels, and those who belonged to him were free of the dominion of the deceitful angels. This was a tenet of the Gnostics, that the lower gods, the archons, Anunnaki, created the cosmos and skillfully designed the mechanics of the universe to thwart every good work, that righteous people would find their every whim and work in opposition to the natural laws of the world. The early church fathers were not past relaying false information about Simon Magus either. Justin Martyr, also a native of Samaria, wrote that the Romans erected a statue in honour of Simon on Tibur Island near Rome, an account later related by Irenaeus, Eusebius and Tertullian. This account is untrue. In 1574 AD, the statue was excavated and the inscription reads in Latin, Semos Sancus, the title of an ancient Sabine god of oaths. 1. Tacitus, Annals XII. 3. Simon Magus.